I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose.
So today with us on Stewart Talk, we're honored to have a very special guest with us. Here on Stewart Talk, we walk in our purpose on purpose. And this young lady is walking in her purpose on purpose as she's being a great light for the kingdom, as she's being able to do the things that God has called her to do, and she's very blessed. And today we have her with us. We have Mrs. Alexis McCowin. How you doing today? Can you hear me?
It froze.
Oh, Lord.
Redo. Redo.
So look, dog, this all I need you to do. 'Cause I'm gonna edit all this part. The the intro still gonna be on it. So
Okay.
the next thing I said was, "How you doing today?"
And it froze, and I couldn't even say anything back.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna keep that and just edit it and chop this up. So how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm just so grateful, even just to have the opportunity to speak more on my journey. And so glad that you reached out. It warmed my heart to get that message. And so, yeah, I'm just feeling good, feeling encouraged, and hopefully anything I have to say encourages the people that are listening.
Yeah, because you are a blessing, and we're overcome by the blood of the Lamb and our words of our testimony, and allowing people to see each other's journey and how they do it, and seeing that you're even celebrated. Where are you from, and how was your upbringing?
So I was born in Georgia, but I was raised in Indiana. So I say I'm from Indiana, the Midwest. I grew up there all my life from preschool all the way up to high school. And then I moved to Georgia in 2021 for school. Back home, kind of like the traditional family, my parents, a big brother, I'm the baby of my family. Um, and I grew up in a faith based household, so I always knew about Christ. I always had that foundation. My dad is a gospel singer as well as a minister. And so I've always had that foundation. But obviously, it wasn't until I got older and started going through life on my own is when God really started becoming God for me. But growing up, I've always had that foundation of just, being in this church and being around, a faith type of household. And from there, kind of my own journey started to sprout.
Yeah. What was your first sign of seeing that God was real, or He really like did a work in your life to be able to show you?
I will say, since I grew up in a faith household, I never had that I wouldn't say never, but the experience where someone almost has to fall all the way to the ground to recognize, okay, God is the only one that pulled me up. I did not have that coming to Christ type of experience in that way, but do it was a time in high school, junior year, is when I was going through a lot of depression, a lot of suicide thoughts. Self-harm, therapy, just in and out, things of that nature. And it wasn't until honestly my junior year of high school is when I was felt the presence of God Himself. So leading up to that point, I was in fall mini camps, went to like youth camps, went to all these different things, being in a faith-based household. But until I really was at a point, low point in my life, mentally and emotionally, is when I felt the presence of God um, pushing me forward to keep going. And it's hard to explain the feeling, but it's just a feeling when you know it was God. It couldn't be anybody else that pushed you to keep going. I kind of explained it to be kind of like a powerful wind, kind of happens in your spirit. That's what I experienced when I was at a very low point in my depression. But God got me up, saying, "I need you here. I need you to keep going." And that's in that moment is when I was my first experience with God,
Yeah.
of being something for me that's outside of my parents.
Yeah, and what would you say to the youth that might be struggling with that depression, low self-esteem? In the Bible it says, comparison is a thief of joy. So they looking at social
Yeah.
media, trying to compare themselves, and sitting up there struggling. What would you say to them?
Comparison definitely is a thief of joy. Sometimes I even fall short of it. I believe even many people older, we all kind of just fall short at times because we are human. But just a reminder that I saw a quote once about comparing yourself to somebody else's life. Um, and it's kind of you're putting a lack of trust in God, thinking that He cannot provide something for you. And when I saw that type of statement, I was like, it all comes down to trust. Like anything we talk about, it always goes back down to we think God's not going to do this for us. And that's kind of been a reminder, even in myself right now. If I see something or I'm comparing myself, first, I'm now more self aware. You need to take the time to think, okay, is this even something I really desire or want? Or is that only because it's in front of me and I see it for someone else? And then also, going back to your trust in God, thinking that can He provide this for you, and kind of you having kind of a scarcity mindset. Just goes back to you not having trust in God that He can do this for your life, or even more. And also, 9 times out of 10, what happens on social media is a highlight reel. We only show the good sides. Even me, I don't show when I'm going through something as much. So just to be mindful that as you post on social media, what are you typically posting? Are you posting the good things, the things you got, or the celebrations? Or are you posting also the warfare and the things that's happening behind doors? So when you think about that for yourself, recognize other people are doing that too. So it just like takes a moment just to look at that. But in terms of depression, that's a journey for sure. I know there used to be beliefs that, just pray about it and then it'll all, go away, which I do believe at the end of the day, God is what has helped me deliver from it. But I did still take, practical measures. I am a big advocate on self help and not self help in that type of term, but self help and just taking those initiatives when you know something's wrong. I am an advocate for therapy, but I would advise to get someone that's rooted in Christ, Christian therapy for sure, that does have those implications in that psychology background, but still y'all both believe in the who is the maker and creator. And so I recommend that for sure. And just taking those type of help, but at the end of the day, really giving it to God, letting Him do that work in you and laying it at His feet, surrendering it day to day. That's really helped me. And so I have done all those things, like I mentioned, therapy and things of that nature, but it honestly wasn't until having that win and having just that moment with God that really helps me to keep moving forward. So that should be your first run to no matter what.
Yeah. Did you play any sports or were you involved in any over organizations or any clubs or anything coming in high school before you went to college or even in college?
Yes, in high school, I was involved a lot, very kind of multifaceted in different areas. I did cross country for 7 years. I started cross country in middle school, and my last cross country season was my senior year of high school. I did track for 4 years, started that freshman year of high school all the way up to senior year. Um, I dabbled in like theater. I did theater for a year, then it got closed down because our production was very small in my school. But I did theater for a year. I've just done like different type of newspaper clubs, things of that nature, but was heavily involved in sports for the most part in my high school. And then in terms of college, I am involved in different community organizations and networks. And so some are affiliated with my school. I graduated from Kennesaw State University, and then others are outside of the schooling. So some networks like business, professional type of networks to get involved in as you're becoming more of an upperclassman.
Yeah, you just recently graduated. What honors did you graduate with, or what special achievements or accolades did you get?
So I graduated with magna cum laude, so it's the second highest. I was literally a point off of the top one, a point.
Wow.
So, but it's okay. It's okay because I still did very, very good. So I graduated with honors, magna cum laude, and I graduated with 2 degrees, one in bachelor's of science and interdisciplinary studies, second bachelor of arts in Black studies, and a minor in leadership studies.
Wow. Any significant challenges along your journey at KSU?
Oh, where do we even begin on my college journey? Um, Honestly, it's so much I can talk about. My college journey was very abnormal. I started off as a COVID baby, so I didn't have my freshman year of high school. So I stayed in Indiana. I took my freshman year fully online back home, and then I actually moved to Georgia in 2021. So it's been 3 years now. And I went to Georgia State first, and then I transferred to Kennesaw State my junior year. That was a big hard time for me, that transition, just going from the different environments of Metro Atlanta to Kennesaw, which is more reserved and quiet. Also, being out of state student, I don't have my family here, so those come with sometimes obstacles when you just don't have your physical support. And just going through different transitions. And so when I came to KSU, I was going through a big isolation season for like almost a year. And honestly, it wasn't until my last year where things started to God, like all the pieces that have happened, God started putting it together up until now. I can definitely say He's a very intentional father, and I've been seeing that a lot in my life lately. But Kennesaw has offered me great experiences outside of the personal obstacles. I got to study abroad at Kennesaw. I've joined so many different organizations. Faculty advisors have been super helpful, and even graduating with 2 degrees by the help of my advisor. So definitely, it's been great opportunities here in the student and professional realm.
Yeah, how has faith played a role in you with dealing with your challenges and even the experience that you went through and even the decisions that you made, being God at the center of everything? How did that help you and how did that transform you to grow you in those years?
I am grateful for the foundation I have back home because I did not come into college with no foundation, at least. I definitely had to develop it here, make him my Lord myself, but I do appreciate I didn't come in not knowing who God was. But through that, I got to find my own journey and what faith looked like for me, especially coming here from out of state. I went to Georgia State first, like I mentioned, which is Metro Atlanta area. So I didn't have my car or vehicle, and so wasn't going to church or anything like that. But I was watching sermons online. But it did get to a point where I was basically like, I need a church home. I need some type of community. I need something. And that's when I started my search for church home. And once I brought my car back down here, Kennesaw State is when I found MSC City, and that I made that my church home. But just honestly, betting on myself, but betting on God more. A lot of people ask me, how am I out of state student? You're so far from home. How do you do this? And the only way I do it is literally God. Like
Right.
when you see this, you're seeing God because the way He's just had His hand in my life, even when I didn't see it, but just seeing how everything is full circle and intentional with Him. Um, and I always just try to remember like all the sufferings and all the shortcomings that were happening right now or happening in the moment, that it won't amount to the joy you're going to experience at the end of all this. And so that really helps me to know that I do trust that all things do work for the greater good. And just to find find assurance, but also just find what's the word? Like feel honored to know that typically when you're going through something, God like chose you for it so that you can be used as a testimony for something. And so that's been like helping me a lot to also look at problems as, okay, you chose me for this, but what are you going to use for it? So just having that faith has helped me a lot, and just the good work He started, like He's going to complete it fully. And so how I started at Georgia State all the way up to here, He's letting it all kind of just come to full completion.
Yeah, I like that. And then he's given us the capacity to get through whatever we go through, trials and tribulations. That's good. So instead of worrying about what it looks like, no, God, you already favored me for this. I'm gonna get the victory and I'm gonna be able to endure
Right.
it. So that's definitely good. As a creative individual, what inspired you to pursue vlogging and being a creative?
It's funny because I've always loved the camera. As much as I was a reserved little girl, I've always loved the camera when I got in front of it. And it was when content creation, I was just speaking about this with someone. I don't know when content creation became a thing or vlogging. I feel like it happened after 2020. Like something shifted with social media and we just got into this. Um, And honestly, what inspired me is I wasn't seeing people talk or share about things that I want people to talk and share about. There's a lot of lifestyle creators, there's a lot of faith filled creators. There's so many people out there, and I do believe there's an audience for everyone. But I wasn't seeing the mixture of aesthetically pleasing mixed with realness and rawness and actual life. And I guess when it came down to that, I was wondering, okay, am I not seeing it because I'm the one that's supposed to do it? So that's what made me get into it, because I do love creating. I do have a creative side, and when I do talk to people, they always see certain things in me, and so it just everything started to make me think, okay, maybe I should actually start creating and vlogging as well. I'm definitely still in the beginning stages, and I really am curious how this goes. I really hope this becomes a successful thing and longevity. But right now, I've just been doing vlogs and just sometimes work with different brands. But I would love to see this become into a bigger platform of just helping people. And even if that looks like through fashion content or just talking like how we are, as well as, anything beauty or just regular life, just being able to be a vessel where I could still be me, but like know that the end goal is to get people to Christ. So yeah, that's what inspired me. I just wasn't seeing what I was hoping to see, and I wanted, to find someone that can relate to my experiences. And so I'm hoping that as I share, someone can relate and see themselves in me too.
Yeah, because it's much needed. Like I be wondering, how do you balance it? Because you do with the self-development, the fitness, the beauty, the creativity in your life, and different people go through that. What does self-love to mean to you, and how do an individual who's struggling with self-love and loving themselves and being okay with what they're doing, or even trying to get better, like with the fitness journey that you talk about or you speak about, or that you even show during your workout? How can a person fix his mind or fix her mind on to going that route instead of just sitting there and just soaking in it?
So, what self love means to me. I've struggled a lot before with giving myself grace and loving the journey. Um, and I'm just now, I think, getting a hold on it of what it looks like to give myself grace and to fall in love with more of the process of things instead of the outcome of it. Easier said than done, easier said than done. But I have definitely grown a lot in that. And self love to me first looks like giving yourself grace when because it is a lot to balance, especially as a full-time student. That becomes first because that's why I came to Georgia in the first place. Everything is secondary, and sometimes that will get lost in translation when I am doing things. But I had to even give myself grace recently with my content creation. I had to stop making content for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks because it was finals week, and I did catch myself beating myself up, saying I'm not doing consistency. You're supposed to be consistent, all these different things, but give myself grace first, knowing I'm a full time student. I'm not a full time content creator like others. So, know that's your first goal, anyways, and you're working to something bigger. Also, that nothing that's for me by God is going to be missed. So, me thinking that if I'm not putting something out, I'm missing an opportunity, but that's not true because anything God wants me to have is going to come at the right time, anyways. So, that's also been helping me too with just balance. I'm a huge advocate. Students, get a planner. I use a planner for everything. If it's not in my planner, I don't know what's going on, and we're probably not going out if it's not in my planner. So use a planner that helps me organize so much with life and social life. I put everything in there, even church, serving. I put everything in my planner. So definitely just building up that organizational skills will help a lot. And then in terms of self love. Finding ways to implement things that bring you joy as well, not always being on the go, being robotic. We are humans, and I feel like with today's age, instant gratification is a huge thing. Always trying to have the next thing happening is the next thing, but like trying to find the small moments to incorporate and just small activities, hobbies you like to do helps a lot. Getting yourself out of a different environment, making sure you're catering to your mental, um, not always isolating yourself on the computer, just having those moments to just breathe is self love, and also finding just beauty in small things are self love too, because God made all things. So just to find little pieces that's helped me a lot in my life, or at least in my journey, especially with this era, everything is fast paced, so it's easy to get kind of swept up in it, but finding those moments to just breathe and pause and speak life and affirmations to yourself as well are big things, and that can be throughout the day. Just encouraging yourself and just saying, "I got this," or "God, help me through this." Those type of things has helped me too, building up that positive self talk.
Yeah. And how do you navigate? How do you balance being a black woman, being a student now, graduating, still having a life, still having things that need to get done with ministry, you serve in ministry? How do you balance that to keep yourself charged and to keep yourself close to God without allowing everything to just crash in?
Yeah. Similar to what I just said, but my if you're like this, I don't know, but my body kind of tells me when I'm shutting down. I start to get very weary, or I might even develop sick-like symptoms. Like my body will let me know, or just my mood will start to change. And lately, what I've been doing is I've been giving myself boundaries too, which I think are very important. You need to give yourself boundaries on when enough is enough. I actually this past 3 weeks. I just now got back. I wasn't serving for 4 weeks at church, and I did let the sector leaders know. But I just wasn't serving because I really needed a moment just to focus on my finals. Couldn't be pouring out, and if my heart wasn't in the place, I did not want to fake it because then I'm robbing myself and the people I'm serving. And so sometimes you have to recognize, and it's okay that there are seasons where you're pouring to others, and there's seasons where people or something needs to pour into you, and just to get comfortable with that. And so giving yourself boundaries is crucial, knowing when you need to say no to something, knowing when, okay, you need to put kind of a deadline on something and kind of be done with it. That's helped me a lot, just having those personal boundaries and boundaries with other people. If you just need to say no to certain friends, or people are asking something of you or want to go somewhere, things of that nature. But if you need a moment to rejuvenate, have those boundaries, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's been my huge thing of needing to replenish and, find those times. And also inviting God in. God knows no matter what, even if you don't say it, but inviting God in to say, God, I'm tired, and he will show up, and he typically shows up in the areas where we're most weak and most tired, and so just letting him fill those spaces for you.
Yeah, dang, that was good. And very
Thanks.
helpful because like a lot of times people struggling that, but like what I see from you is consistency, even when things that you don't understand or you don't know, or if it's something that gets you off of your plan or your what you got going on, you stick to what you know and you're consistent even in your methods. What would you say to the youth who are trying to build a relationship with God, might be at the babe stage, but the world is doing their own thing, but they want to be confident in their walk, or they're looking to how to maintain a relationship with God. What would you say to them?
Yeah. I forgot the actual scripture of the name. I feel like it's in Luke. I'm not sure. But God honors when you give him your youth, for sure. And he actually loves that when, especially at a young age. And you see it so many times in the Bible. A lot of the people in the Bible were actually really, really young. And so it can be scary. It definitely can be scary. I understand. And as you do it, your confidence and your assurance in yourself grows so much that it doesn't phase you as much. I've definitely been there, especially in middle school and high school, kind of downplaying myself, downplaying my faith and just my walk, because you don't want to be seen a certain way. You want to fit in, but you have to remember that you're not meant to fit in anyways. So even when you're trying to fit in, you might have those feelings like I did, where I just felt like I didn't belong here. Something didn't feel right. I just need to, get a new friend group, or just like leave a certain environment if I'm out somewhere, because you're literally not meant to fit in. As he says, we're the salt of this earth. And so just also just finding comfort in that, as well as I encourage to also find, even though it might seem difficult, they are out there. And so much community has come to me in just this last year, especially at times where I thought there was nobody out there that will bring me that community, especially at a young age. And I'm so grateful for it. But seeking people that are similar to you in mindset and similar to you in your walk, not to say you have to leave everybody else behind, but finding those people that you can relate to. And it might be in the unconventional way, and it might be in a way that you don't expect it to happen, but being open to it. I think who you're around definitely plays a big part. Um, and just being open about it. Like I said, give everything that you're hurting with, or that you're nervous about, or you're just confused about, to God, because he understands those feelings. And this might be a little bit more, but most of the time, the things we're seeing now, the people that seem like they're having kind of a better life, or it seems like when you walk this Christian walk, you're kind of going through more troubles than the people that aren't walking. And yeah, I've been through that multiple times. I'm like, and I keep being reminded, he didn't promise us nothing,
Right.
but the reward is so much greater at the end. So just stay faithful with that, that there's a reward at the end of this, where others, unfortunately, who have not accepted God, they would not experience that. So everything is temporary on this earth, just to keep that. And I know it's hard when you're younger and you're surrounded by it, but just encourage to kind of stay in that walk, find those right people around you, put yourself in areas and environments where it can help build you up, and continue to just seek God in all he is, because he does have different titles, so he can show up for you in different ways of your life and actually be a true friend. And just from doing those things, it's helped me to build up my confidence, where things like that doesn't shake me as much. And you also become a light to other people. People start to draw to you and they don't even know it's God. So man, you're great. Thank you. Sorry, someone said something. But yeah, people don't even know that it's God that's being drawn to that light on you. But when you start to operate in that, you don't realize the type of impact you have on other people. So it might seem hard now, but I promise it's going to get easier. You just have to stick with it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, like the comment he said, like you're pretty. So when you was dealing with not being confident and you know you're nice looking, what made you not think that like I'm nice looking, I'm beautiful, or I'm pretty? What made you not have the confidence, and what you did you do to get it back?
Like when I struggle with self, like, and like with beauty standards and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that is, how did I even,
Because when
everything's
you
going to go
said,
back to
and
God.
only reason why I said that is because of the comment he said. But when you said you were struggling with that, I'm like I just wanted to know like why. You know, we see it.
Everything goes back to God. I'm telling you, I struggled with, it's a whole other topic. This actually might be a YouTube topic one day, so it might be on the YouTube page.
Or
I,
around two, we can come back and do a live on it too.
I used
Okay.
to struggle with beauty standards a lot, and it's not even perfect now. But it's definitely grown way better. I do have my moments, being a girl, I start nitpicking at things, but I used to struggle with beauty standards a lot, especially being a Black woman. I used to hate different features on me, from my nose, from my lips. And it's funny because a lot of those things now come back and everybody's wanting these things, but not
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything comes. That's what I'm saying. You just got to stick with it because everything's going to come full circle. But I used to just struggle a lot with that. All my features, my hair was a big one. Um, Most people saw now, but I did get my hair cut November 10th. I did do a big chop, because I struggled a lot with my identity in my hair. I'm a girl that likes to change her hair a lot because I love stylish things, but I also had to dig deep to the root and saying, why did I always have anxiety when my hair wasn't done? And it's because I didn't like myself when my hair wasn't, with added stuff. And now I can say I feel beautiful with this, and also feel beautiful with my short afro. But it took a lot to get to that point. You have to get real with yourself. You have to lay your insecurities at the feet of God, and you really have to do that inner self work. And through that journey that started back probably late middle school, then high school. But it really, till these 2 past years, is when my actual identity in Christ started to get so big that everything else started to diminish.
Yeah, that's much needed. That's somebody gonna be able to take from that and help them. You have spoke on this. Last couple questions. I'm gonna get you out there. You have spoke on the importance of community. I'm glad because I was about to ask you that about having a support system or people to hang around and hanging around all the right people too. What would you say to a person your age, a youth, or someone who wants to start on social media, vlogging, doing content, and all like that? What would be your advice to them?
If you're wanting to start content, whether that's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, anything, don't do what I did, where I literally would obsess over the algorithm. I'll obsess over all the tricks. I'll obsess over everything on how can I get myself out there. And trust that the actual audience is going to come. I would say to figure out what are things that you like to speak about, what are things that you feel like come naturally to you. A lot of people focus on what your subject or your niche is going to be about. typically things that come naturally to you that you almost do day to day base, I would say is something that you want to look into because that makes it easier to stay consistent regardless. And just keep your eye focused on you. Don't look at what everyone else is doing, which is easier said than done because I've done that multiple times. But I had to keep reeling it in of the whole point of me starting content creation was because I wasn't seeing the stuff I want to see. And so if I'm too busy focused on the other person, then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of why I even started in the first place. So it's okay to have inspiration and look at other people, but definitely put limits on the scrolling, definitely put limits on just when your mind starts to go to that place of comparison. Definitely recommend to have fun with it. You got to love it first, and then everything else will come because it does take time to build up that, the fruits from the labor. And so you got to love it, love just being able to be creative regardless, and everything else will come. And also, I would recommend before anything, because a lot of people want to get into this field, you need to know your why before you do it because that will stay your foundation, and also it will help you keep going, and it'll also keep you focused on it. You want to make sure that it's not coming from, ill intent, kind of, those type of things, or just being ingenuine on your reasons. So make sure to know your why before anything, and then just go from there. And be consistent. Yes, everyone says to be consistent, but make sure that you're going at your own pace so you can continue to have fun and just enjoy it without becoming just feeling like work the whole time.
Yeah. Whatever comes to your heart or your mind, speak something to the youth, positive, inspirational form.
Um, I would say, I would just say honestly, just to stick with God. I know it's hard. I know it's easier to probably go the other way. It might feel easy now, but definitely the work and the labor you're putting in is not going to amount to all you're going to experience on the other side. And know that God is pleased. And that you're meant to be different. You're meant to be set apart. And so when you feel those things, don't feel like you're different. Don't feel like you're strange. Don't feel like you're just an outcast. Things of that nature. I know it's just God in you that's chosen you to be a light for your generation. And even for myself, it's been hard in my generation, so being a young person. So I can only imagine what it's like now, as the world has been. But just to stay forward on the journey and stay focused on God. And when your eyes do start to drift off, just always make sure to come back to Him because He's always waiting for you. Um, you just never know. You never know what you're doing, how that can help the people that's around you. So I would just make sure to stay encouraged, get plugged in with other community to help you on this walk, and don't be afraid to ask questions and to ask for help, especially from those that are older than you and also have been in this walk. Always be curious about it too, and always just make sure that you're asking for those things and needing guidance as well, because it's hard to always do this walk alone. So you want to make sure that you're not isolating as well, and just continue to just lay things always at God's feet because He wants to hear from you, and don't keep things bottled in because He's going to know anyways.
Yeah.
But making sure to invite Him into all aspects of your life. And I do also recommend when I say invite him to all aspects of your life, that goes for everything. That goes for your schooling, that goes for your friendships, your relationships, your sports, your dances, dance recitals, everything. Just invite him because he wants to be a part of your life, and you will see how he starts to move in those different areas if you give him control over it. So stay encouraged and stay faithful is what I always say to people, especially at the end of my videos, I like to say.
Yeah. Cast your cares upon him because he cares. Last question. What's next for you, Alexis? What's your
I don't know.
goal? What things are you trying to go after? Or is it transition now you're figuring it out?
I'm in a huge transition season. When people keep asking me, I'm like, my season is called transition. I
Yeah.
think God is also taking me to a different place, um, wanting me to leave behind everything that's come before me in 2023 specifically. That was a very hard year for me. So I do feel God has shifted me into bigger next steps, as well as being a college graduate. That's a transition in itself. So thank you. But it's listen, we give everything to God because I've been scared over here, but he knows. I be telling him, but I have applied to a master's school and I have got accepted, and so I might be going to that master's school in this August. It is my top. but I want to make sure anything I do, God's hand is in it. So I really have been seeking Him for that. But He has lined this up where it only seems like it was divine by Him. And so that is a huge thing on my next for Alexis. But if not, then we're going to keep with the consecration. We're going to keep doing what we do and see where God leads me. But I know I will be going to higher education no matter what. So next, my most likely will be my master's.
And keep up because your voice need to be heard and people need to hear what you got to say because you're experiencing what you're going through. And I just pray that God give you strength, give you direction, and that He give you courage. If God is for us, who can be against us? So as you transition in this next season, just stay close to Him and be able to hear what He's saying. You are needed for a time like this, and He's going to develop you. He's going to cultivate you. He's going to give you all the tools and all the downloads that you need to be able to be the woman of God that He called you to be. So be
Thank
encouraged.
you.
You got this, sis.
Thank you. I receive. Yeah, we're
I
all on our journeys.
Yeah, and I appreciate this, and we gonna set something else up so we can go that other way because I know that would have been a longer thing.
Yeah, the whole beauty thing is a whole other conversation. I gave you like a short kind of version
Yeah,
of the journey, but it's a lot that's
we're gonna
happened.
do this again, though. I appreciate you. Continue to walk in your purpose on purpose, and it's been good.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for extending this opportunity. It was really nice just to speak about that journey, and I hope it does help someone, and I'll be spreading it to others as well.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Be safe on your
Okay.
trip.
Thank you. I